stage 3 of Tour of the Redlands Bicycle Classic. We're getting our feet wet. If you get your feet wet, you can use this, which is the Sothing shoe dryer. Pretty cool. Has these little adjustable feet that go into it. You can find it on Amazon. Link is in the description. We are starting out downhill on this circuit, which you can see on the top left, into the first corner up here. It's always kind of a race for the first corner because the first lap is always super hard. You're going to notice my power on this first hill. This hill starts out right as we go around the corner, and everybody's racing pretty hard into it. I was fairly far back on the start, so I knew I was going to have my work cut out for me. But if you'll notice here on the right, there's actually a guy who hits that little curb and just gets yeeted into the bushes, which was a hectic start. But I'm going to start moving up, doing 800-ish watts up this thing. So it was quite hard. This whole day was just punishing, and people were just going out the back the whole time. Up into the chicane on the climb, first lap here. And I've moved up pretty well. I'm not that far back anymore. I can see my team leader, Owen Cole, up there in the front. If you haven't seen the stage before, we are in the Young Riders jersey, and we're just a few seconds behind on the GC lead. Very similar to last year when we came to this. Actually had the GC lead last year. On the climb here, there's a bunch of bunching up. I had to jump off the road a little bit just to keep momentum going. But it was getting a little crazy here on this first lap with just guys fighting for position super hard coming through. And Zorak, my other teammate here, he gets pushed off right before the feed zone also. Feed zone is at a weird part in the climb where we have this little leveling essentially of the climb, and then it goes back downhill and into a gravel turnaround, which you're going to see me follow Zorak here into. He's a mountain biker, so I know he's going to take a good line, and he's done this course before, so we go far outside, and last year I loved this line, but you could berm right here into it and just continue momentum, and you can tell he continued a little more momentum. I was scared that guy was going to cut my line off, but it was pretty nice to be able to get fairly far forward in this first lap. And we actually rode really hard for a lot of these circuits. Last year, the first lap was super hard, and then the rest of them were a little bit easier at some point, but this year it was just hard pretty much the whole go. Let's see if I can find some power for you. But here, coming over the gravel section, which that's an interesting part of the course, is there's a little gravel section on the road bikes, and typically there's not a lot of issue with that. But second lap here, I'm on Boardman's wheel, and I am at the front. Boardman just kind of keeps it rolling, which was kind of cool. But yeah, that means I'm at the front and in a great position to just sag the whole thing. Okay, for first 7 minutes of the race, my average power was almost 400 watts. So that's the first climb, pretty hard for the first lap. And that's with a good effort of starting out at 700 watts for 20 seconds. Anyway, pretty hard little race. Started out quite hard. Anyway, we're continuing into the race, and I am right on Owen's wheel there. He tells me to line it up for him and Zorak there, so we're just going to keep him up towards the front. This is a lap where there's going to be KOM points on the top of the climb. You might notice that KOM sign, and we're expecting people are going to go for it. So we want to stay in good position, make sure if Owen wants to, he can attack over the KOM points, but more importantly, if Eder, who won last year and is going to be really close after this circuit, more importantly, keep Eder in range if Eder does decide to attack. So we're up at the front here. I decide my turn is going to end right here. Zorak comes by, and then Owen. So I'm just going to sag this climb, and I hope I have plenty of energy. You can see Eric Bruner right there on the left with his team Project Echelon surrounding him, which they're going to be in a good spot. It is really lining up for this, and that's Eder there on the left with Legion of LA. They've got a pretty good team here this year. Tyler Williams, Noah Granigan's back, which was cool to see. He was in that last race. And here we have Owen on the front there. It was getting lined up. You can see guys really stretching it out right here. And they are going pretty hard for this particular effort. I'm trying to go hard just to stay in, and I just kind of had to do a sag back for almost all of them. Sometimes what happened during that was these gaps would open up, and you would just have to close down the gap. This good guy and I would sometimes get caught out together, so you're going to see him a few times when we do this particular maneuver, but some guys going around us. I thought about jumping onto these wheels, but I knew from last year that most of the time it would just come together right after the gravel section there, or maybe on the downhill, which could hurt if it comes together on the downhill. Then that means you've been doing a little more effort than you should into the climb. So hopefully we weren't going to get caught there. I did actually get on the front during the flatter section just to try and keep our momentum up. I knew a lot of the other guys were cracked, and I was kind of trying to even out the effort. So I decided to lead into this, hoping to take a little better line than everybody else into this gravel section. Usually if you're on your own, you can take a good line and just relax down this and let your momentum take you into it. However, some guys decided to just chop me into this corner, even though we were going to catch up and be just fine. So that one guy on the blue team chopped me, and then the good guys guy chopped him even more, which would be fine. But good guys here decided he was pretty tired, so he dropped the wheel. Sometimes it happens. You just gotta punch your ticket and hope that making that corner fast works out, and hope they don't accelerate after. They unfortunately did accelerate after, so our whole group is once again distanced from that little maneuver, but we would eventually catch back on. And that catch actually happened here on the descent. So we're rolling through on the descent super fast, getting a little super tuck-ish back into the little gravel sector, and I took kind of a relaxed line on the slab. Good guys chopping me yet again, and it looks like he's going to do the same thing. Kind of a slow line into that corner, and he's just going backwards. So I'm hoping he's going to hang on to this next wheel, but I see immediately he's got less pace, so I'm not going to let it happen again. He opened that gap there, and I just went right around him just to not do that again. So interesting dynamics. This was an important lap because Owen got caught behind. Eder is attacking right now, and this was one of the more notable attacks. So Eder's on the front, attacking. He's got a big gap, and Owen started behind me, which was pretty rough. You can see Owen just got to the front in that corner there, and you can see Eder here on the attack. So he's got a good gap in that little chicane section. There are three guys in between, and then Owen was kind of trying to bridge up there. You can see him on the front of the main group, and there is Eric Bruner trying to bridge back, but his legs seemed pretty zapped at this point. You can see Owen just go right around him into that next little chicane section to try and keep that pace high. I kind of wish Owen had tacked into that, but he eventually did catch back on, and I am sagging, but Bruner is right there, and he's particularly cracked this lap. So I do a little maneuver. I get in front of him and then just slowly let go of this guy's wheel, hoping Bruner doesn't notice. Some other guys around me did notice, and it actually did end up getting Bruner and I in a little group. Cheeky move, but I felt like it was good to take any advantage we could, and I couldn't really help Owen out in the front. Up at the front, you can see Eder still off in the gravel section, and Owen is on the front of that group back there trying to pull him back in. There's a very limited number of guys in the group, so this could be a key moment for the race. Having 6-7 guys go clear on this race is not something that's abnormal. Here we are in the group behind with Bruner and Patrick Welch here. Welch and his teammate, also from APS, and Bruner here, it's kind of on them to pull this little move back. So APS is trying to convince. You can see the comm car goes by us, even though the gap is so small. And eventually we actually just passed that comm car anyway. But we were able to get back on by the base of the climb into that front group. And then another split formed, also with Bruner and the APS guys back here through the feed zone. On the front, here I had Zorak and Owen in the front group, which was pretty nice. They were expecting this to kind of go. I think we all were, but it did come back together for the last few laps. So with 2 laps to go, it came back together. It was hard again. And then for the last lap, I was actually able to catch back on. There was a group of maybe 40 of us, and then I pulled into the base of the climb. So this is last lap here. You can see there's a lot of guys together. It's kind of spread apart, but largely I would say this is a group coming into the finish, and it's just gonna maintain like a hard pace. I think Eder here is attacking on the front this last lap, and Owen is going to respond. I think that's Ian Lopez from Modern Adventure Pro on the front, and Owen in second wheel there, with Eder attacking through the gravel section, which is a pretty good place to attack, just in case anybody sits up behind. And you can see Owen's just taking the brunt of having to pull this back in. Nobody else is really wanting to work with him just because of our result last year, and everybody kind of knows he's strong. But coming through the finish, the race was kind of all together at the front. Eder, I think, maintained the gap from here. There's that little turn at the bottom, but he took the win, Eder Frere, and would end up being in the overall jersey. In second place was Kent Ross from Cascadia. He used to be on Wildlife Generation Pro, and then Marcus Shelton in third on Comp Edge, and then Owen got fourth with just 2 seconds behind. In fifth was Julian Ruhi. So in the GC, we actually have Eder in first. 1 second behind is Owen, which is pretty cool going into the next. And then Eric dropped down to third, also a second behind. Into the crit, and then Sunset, which the Sunset's going to be the GC day. Thanks for watching. See you.